The first offseason in the Orioles franchise has wrapped up, and it was a fun one that involved a lot of learning and growing pains for the new ownership. Let's see what moves were made to hopefully improve the team for the future. The coaching staff across the board will remain the same heading into year 2. There was talk of moving on from manager John Kane, but the team decided no moves needed to be made just yet in any department. Then it was time for exclusive negotiations. Roberto Osuna, Maikel Franco, Freddie Galvis, Edwin Encarnacion, and Matt Harvey all needed new contracts. With $118.56 million in budget, there are plenty of moves to be made. Osuna last season racked up 31 saves in 55 games, which is right around his 2019 Astros numbers. The O's ended up offering him a 3-year deal worth $29.1 million. Next, the O's made qualifying offers to Maikel Franco and Freddie Galvis for 1 year, $19.1 million. They did not offer contracts to Edwin Encarnacion or Matt Harvey. Next, the O's had to make preparations for the Rule 5 draft, which means setting the 40-man roster because anyone left off could be eligible for the draft. Notable players added to the 40-man are Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, Anthony Savidio, and Terran Vavra. The O's had a lot of players to offer contracts to that were still under their control, and they started by offering a 5-year, $26 million contract to Austin Hayes. Adley Rutschman got a $90,000 offer for next season. DJ Stewart was offered $1.7 million over 2 years. Grayson Rodriguez was also offered a $90,000 contract for next season. Wrapping up the notable contracts, Cedric Mullins was offered $8 million over 3 years, and Ryan Mountcastle got a $1.2 million offer over the next 2 years. Here's a look at the top free agents this season, headlined by Trevor Story from the Rockies. Carlos Correa, Noah Syndergaard, Roberto Perez, Max Scherzer, and Lance Lynn are the other top-tier players in free agency. The O's didn't offer to any of them due to lack of interest on the players' side. More on the O's participation in free agency later on. Here's a list of all the contracts that have been agreed to so far in the offseason, and some key returning players are Cedric Mullins, Roberto Osuna, Austin Hayes, Ryan Mountcastle, and reliever Dylan Tate. Back to free agency. Our Birds need pitching help, so they started by offering a contract to the former Yankee starter Corey Kluber. It's for 3 years, $24.6 million. The O's also put out a 5-year, $19.5 million offer to third baseman Starlin Castro. The Texas Rangers land Carlos Correa for 5 years, $121.5 million, while the O's continue to offer contracts. Next, they put out a 1-year, $5 million offer to the power-hitting left fielder Chris Davis. Continuing with free agency around the league, Trevor Story signs with the A's for 9 years, $279 million. Corey Kluber signs with our Orioles. The 3-year deal worth $24.6 million will make him the top pitcher in our starting rotation, more than likely next season. Taking a look at arbitration for the O's now, catcher Pedro Severino was offered arbitration at $1.8 million from the O's. Rio Ruiz avoided arbitration by being offered $16 million over 5 years, and Chance Sisco was also offered arbitration at $590,000. It's Rule 5 draft time now, and for those unfamiliar with the process, it's where any player taken in this draft must remain on the team's major league roster for next season. The O's first pick is the hard-throwing relief pitcher Sir Anthony Dominguez in the 2nd round from the Rockies. In the 2nd round, they selected first baseman Jake Scheiner. 3rd round, they had a hard time choosing between 2 relievers, Carl Edwards Jr. or Colin Poche. The Birds ended up adding the 27-year-old Poche to end their run in the Rule 5 draft. And with the Rule 5 draft over, spring training is almost set to begin. There were some things in here that I had to cut out, like signing Matt Wieters on accident and then releasing him and things like that I messed up with. I also messed up with Trey Mancini. I have no idea where he is, but he's not on our roster, that's for sure. I don't know what happened with that. It's weird. I know I made some mistakes with this being my first offseason in the show, but I appreciate you all coming along with me on the ride all the same. We'll get to spring training next video. Let me know what you thought about all the moves we made, as well as the video overall. Before we go though, it's time to bring back my viewer question segment, and I've got 3 this week. Our first question comes from Yolky Boy, and he wants to know what is my opinion on fast food. It's fine. My favorite fast food is Taco Bell. It's actually a comfort food for me. Or having a bad day or whatever, you know, order Taco Bell. Why not? The next question comes from State of the Franchise Sports, and he wants to know, what's your go-to snack when you do have time to game? That is probably Wheat Thins, honestly. Wheat Thins is also a fond memory that I have with my brother. We used to play Mortal Kombat Alliance. That was the co-op one with Kung Lao and Liu Kang, and we would just eat and snack on Wheat Thins when we played that game. So that's a comfort snack for me. Whenever I have time to game, I'll usually snack those Wheat Thins. And the final question comes from Ricardo Vargas Games, and he asks, what is your favorite video game of all time? I have a series of games for this. It's the entire Mass Effect trilogy, base trilogy. Andromeda is fine, but it's not a good Mass Effect game. It's a fine game on its own. Anyway, I love Mass Effect trilogy so much. It's one of those that I could play over and over again and always find something new in it where I played through it multiple times. I hope to get back to streaming at some point, and maybe I can go back and play through it again with the Legendary Edition and see what other new things I can find. And that was all for viewer questions for this week. If you would like to ask your own questions, leave them in the comments below. I will answer them in the next video at the end of it. So with all that being said, you guys, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you are new here, consider subscribing. And of course, as always, you know what to do, B-Team. Keep on shining and keep on grinding. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.